What I've got for you today is something that I've been putting off for a good long while, but I think it's about time we do it. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where already I'm sure some of you are familiar with the map that we're going to be playing on today, but for maybe some of the newcomers that might be joining us for maybe the first time or getting into Bar for the very first steps too, this is a map that's called All That Glitters. You'll get more familiar with it in a second here after we meet our blue team leader, a Cortex commander spawning with a cheeky little Halloween pumpkin on their head, a commander that goes by the name of Fight War. I'm blue, baba diaba da. Nice, love that reference right there. The red commander going to be representing the red team here with a little witch's broom and witch's hat spawning right up on the front lines. It's a commander that goes by the name of Hayaji here, the red commander from the TFC clan, apparently going to be showing us what they've got as an Armada vehicle comm. Apparently going to be going into some of those Armada vehicles. Very popular, very powerful, of course, is the Janus tank for its twin missile, guided missile launcher. But also just in general, the ARM vehicles tend to have a lot of flexibility. The core vehicles tend to be the main thing we see, though, just because Cortex tends to be what a lot of newer players learn first. Anywho, looks like it's going to be Neo paired with the Green Commander Syria going to be playing together on the left-hand side for the blue team. Powder Blue Commander Hexcom is going to be playing right up against Lame Name, the best name I've ever seen here for the Lavender Commander. In the backline, we've got the Purple Commander Anik 100, we've got the Seafoam Green Commander Ion Storm, and we've got the Green Commander Go Go Rush as well. That rounds out our blue team here. For the time being, we do have a a rover actually, on its way across the map right now. From our Pink Commander, Wendell's our Tan Commander as well. Shrek 3 on DVD, going to be showing us what Tan superiority looks like in the midsection of the map right here. Pink Commander, ING Jane, Frowning Jane. We'll go with Frowning Jane. The Brown Commander, Joe 14, the 14th Joe ever made. Spooky Dookie for our Orange Commander, with the pumpkin on the head. Definitely feels appropriate, right? And of course, the final, least but not least, Yellow Commander here, KZ, who apparently is walking into the wind turbine. Interesting. Okay, we've met our players. Usually I don't introduce everybody, but I feel like on All That Glitters we have plenty of time. The rush distance is just massive. Now are the first units reaching across the map here. We do have a couple of rovers making their way into the back lines. Neo finding some damage right here with those rovers, and yeah, manages to at least... Never mind. An excellent defense from Frowning Jane. She manages to mop up those rovers nicely. And just like that, deflects all that aggression come out right there by the Cyan Commander. Surprised to see that we didn't go after this Constructor and the Metal Extractor here instead. That's definitely guaranteed damage. Would have been a little bit more efficient, of course, if we had managed to snipe this and get some damage done here. But I'm sure Frowning Jane is more than pleased with herself for the fact that that was essentially as clean of a defense as you're looking for here. As clean a defense as you could possibly get, really. All the commanders expanding forward. Looks like a variety of different options here as we see constructors moving forward, we see commanders moving forward, we see all sorts of stuff all over the place. Obviously, there's risks to each and every one. Sending your comm forward leaves your base a little bit exposed. As you can see, the Lavender Commander's base now only 2/3 protected right here by the LLTs. There's still some exposed angles over here. Whoa, Shuriken in the air, though. Nicely done from those Shuriken in the air. Nice from the Blue Commander, saving his teammate's Metal Extractor. Buying a lot of time for those units to get on over into position and actually clean all that up. A whole bunch more ticks coming across here, and I have to give it to the red team. Some wonderful aggression, some wonderful counter-aggression right here. Oftentimes, it's very easy to lose that first engagement, right? You lose a Metal Extractor here, you lose a Wind Turbine there. Suddenly, your APM is spent all on your backline and nowhere on the front, and suddenly you don't manage to get a counterattack in. This is beautiful opportunity right here for the red team, just managing to continually lay on the pressure, and now we have grunts in the backline. Beautiful game right now. Neo in a whole bunch of trouble. Wind turbines way too close together to do chain react. And there's plenty of grunts right here to contest the stragglers coming out of the laboratory right now for the Purple Commander. It's always nice, of course, if you can manage to pick off the reinforcements. It puts you in a wonderful spot as far as managing to deal with any stragglers coming into the lab go. Shuriken eventually going to allow defensive forces to clean a lot of this up. But in the meantime, of course, this has also been a fabulous amount of damage and plenty of scouting. Yeah, Cyan Commander cries out that he's dead. I don't think that's quite so true, but a little bit of support from, well, with a little bit of support from the team, might be able to claw back in here. Single Blitz tank, for whatever reason, not firing. Oh, it's because it already killed everything. Metal Extractors and Wind Turbines dead right here. Okay, so some nice counterattack damage. That's exactly what we need to see. Bringing things a little bit more even between the two commanders right here, the pink and the blue commander. Shrek 3 on DVD, trying to move forward here. We have a mace, or a couple of maces, mixed in with the Rocketeers here. Obviously a very sturdy composition, if not an expensive one. But certainly quite good if facing up against grunts single-handedly, one-on-one. But of course the grunts have a little thing called mobility. Their stompers underneath their torso, power out, plenty of footsteps per second. Means that they're very, very quick on the battlefield. Means that oftentimes you need some of the quickest units in the game in order to actually catch up to them. I'm talking rovers, rascals, ticks, or pawns. We do have... Oh, okay, a little metal extractor self-D. Love the micro right there. Not sure it was necessary, though. With the shuriken in the air, that should have been cleaned up nicely. But I always love to see a little bit of self-D micro. We never get to see self-D micro, so it's cool to see when we do. Front line's in trouble. The air player right now with a transport. Okay. Are we going for... Oh, okay. Well, there we go. The blue commander picking up a constructor right here and bringing it back to the front line. The problem with this is if I switch to the red POV, that transport is still, or that constructor rather, is still revealing everything in an area around it. So you can see indeed, yeah, this has done a wonderful bit of scouting right now against the purple or the powder blue commander. And indeed, as it continues to move towards the back, it'll continue scouting the bases over here. Off to the top left of the screen, you can see the commanders trading out, looks like. That's going to be the Cyan and the pink commander trading out calm for calm right there. We do have a couple of LLTs in a defensive position, and my goodness, with the pings. Frowning Jane apparently discontent with her teammates' efforts and apparently deciding to take it out on the entire team with a flurry of pings right now. Unhappy with the T2 lab going up in the backline, but not communicating that in chat very clearly. I hope they're in a Discord at the very least, because otherwise that is a lot of yelling, or a lot of disruption to the audio inputs of the teammates without really very much clear communication. Anik 100 going to eat up most of the corpse right there of the blue commander, and all of the corpse of the pink commander. Going to dig on the wreckage right here. Not sure that was entirely necessary. I think this commander probably could have managed to eat up most of this, but at the very least denying those air cons from getting any of that wreckage out as well. So this is pretty interesting. The blue commander has captured the constructor here and is now just using it on the front lines. I mean, I suppose I don't hate it. Yeah, that's a free constructor. May as well use the enemy's resources to build your own constructors. Sure. Janus missiles connecting in a big way. Love to see the Janus tanks firing away now. We'll get a setup of you real quick here. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Get some cinema shots in here. I don't know where my controller went. We did have the controller inputs for a while that allowed us to get some really beautiful shots, but I love getting down into the action here. Gets a little loud, though. A nice engagement for the red commander, using those Janus tanks wonderfully here. Hot pink commander has fallen as well, and that does, of course, mean that the lavender commander is going to have a wonderful time eating up all that wreckage right here. Has to be careful, though. Those Januses can kill an 18% HP commander very quickly. That can go badly in just a mere moment. And look at that. The blue team coming back from that early game aggression with just overwhelming production here. Yeah, producing numerous forces. Joe 14 going for the T2 lab right now. Just about to finish it up at the 8-minute mark. Is a little bit slow for a T2 lab. Obviously, the quickest way to speed that up is just to blow up the commander and eat up that metal, and that allows you to pay for that T2 lab a little bit faster. Instead, this commander going to be marching forward here and used as a defensive tool. So the time has been bought right here by the pink commander. Will there be enough to pump out enough units to save the day here? I really don't think so. There's not a lot left in the tank right now, and with the commander still up and running, there's just not enough metal for Joe 14 to pump out any units. A critical oversight, and having enough metal to build the lab, not enough metal to actually build the units to save the teammate right here. Joe 14 learning a valuable lesson today. Shrek 3 on DVD, meanwhile, holding the line right here. We do have a whole bunch of maces and a whole bunch of rocketeers. It's about as stalwart a composition as you could ask for. The only substitution you might make is just swapping out a couple of those maces for Centurion. Gives you a little bit more of a flexible firepower, but not necessarily a necessary substitution. Yeah, that's a little bit redundant, but you get the idea. Effectively, 4 maces or 2 Centurion, either one, kind of a 2-to-1 ratio. Seems to work out quite nicely here. HLT going to be coming up right now for the red commander, going up against this bot army. I think it makes a lot of sense. Of course, there's no bot that can outrange the HLT, so it means that you're going to have a relatively efficient static defense no matter what. So long as it gets some use denying an area of the opponents, or where the opponent would like to push into. I think it's pretty safe to say that HLTs are very efficient when playing against bot players. Maybe fair is to say that they have the potential to become very efficient against bot players. Not so much against vehicle players. Okay, we're way overproducing the metal, or the energy here. We have quite a few advanced solar panels. At this point, we have 849 energy production, which is way more than you need for T2. We've also got another T2 con coming up here. Hopefully we're giving this to our teammate before we start producing some units. Oh, okay, we're going for 5 T2 cons. Those are 430 metal apiece. Is very expensive. Getting those T2 metal extractors up and running is obviously priority, but right now I would definitely consider eating up these T1 solar panels and going ahead and starting to pump out units, because of course, my good sir, enemies are knocking on the door. Knocking quite badly on the door, in fact. Knocking with a harsh rap. They are trying to break in at every turn right now, and I think the red team is holding out against all odds, but really on the back foot right here. They need a good win, and these rocket spiders are looking to give it to them. Those rocket spiders on the cliffs right here from the yellow commander KZ are trying to push forward, trying to find some value, and are, well, slowly getting that trade in. Remember, rocket spiders fire a volley of 3 rockets, but once they're out of the tube, they really don't have much value. Yeah, nice. That's the commander going down over here. The lavender commander, a lame name, does fall. Yeah, you know, I think the rocket spiders against the mesas are a pretty decent option. Pink commander pinging once again. Oh no, Joe. Joe 14 not paying attention to the commander whatsoever. At the very least, the Resbot might be able to. Okay. Wahahaha. We have the grunts to protect the Resbot, but they're not moving forward, so the Resbot goes down right here for the pink commander. And, well, that's a lot of metal. A lot of metal handed right on over to the Cyan commander, who's going to be feeling more than happy to upgrade those T2 mexes with all the juicy resources that have been flooded backwards here. Neo needs to start producing units right now, though we're AFK on the unit production. Means, of course, that metal is just overflowing to the team, which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, but certainly in this case, I think the Cyan commander is probably the Cyan commander is probably looking for a next step in this game, and going T2 is definitely one of them. A kick command is called for Joe, who apparently has committed such atrocious crimes, such as being new to the game, that it's time to kick them from the game and never allow them to play again. Take this as your learning opportunity, Joe. Little bit of overproduction on the T2 constructors here. We definitely don't need this many. Usually, if you're handing them over to teammates, you're expecting them to pay you. I'm not sure this has happened so far. Oh, would you look at that? Joe has been left of the game. Or did he get kicked? Oh, he might have actually been kicked. Yeah, left the game kicked. Wow, that's brutal. Forcing a commander out of the game so that you can take over their base right here. We'll see if it works. I have a feeling that removing a teammate is going to be horrible for morale, right? You take a massive morale penalty when you kick a teammate off your team. Then again, I suppose it depends which teammate. Rocket Spider's now disassembling all the T1 static defenses here. Yep, nicely done. Every volley they fire, whittling down those T1 statics quite easily here. Rocket Spider Recluse is probably one of the most menacing T2 siege units available. I love to see these in place of Mauser. Oftentimes Mauser are kind of looked at as the counterpart to this, but obviously these have so much more utility. Their all-terrain mobility makes them really useful in a lot of situations, especially on maps like this with big canyons that you can take advantage of. But also their range is immense. Just large enough that they can harass down most T1 static defenses, but also not so long that you would consider them not a skirmishing unit or a brawling unit, right? You can use them on the front line effectively without necessarily having to compromise your the entire integrity of your composition. Nice push right here, though. The hot pink commanders, the hot pink and the yellow commanders break through this right-hand canyon side and immediately go for the throat. That's some killer teamwork right there. The medium tanks jumping on the T2 lab and blasting it to smithereens just like that. The lavender commander, or pardon me, the powder blue commander Haxcom is knocked out of the game. Looks like we did have a commander tap out already for the blue team as well. You know what? A decent engagement over here too. Medium tanks finding a wonderful opportunity to engage. Those heavy laser towers firing away as well. Still getting value. My goodness. Medium tanks all over the place in the backline. Not a good situation right now for the blue team. Despite losing this left-hand side, despite some bizarre shenanigans, the red team with the kick take. I've never seen a kick take before. Yeah, managing to hold for now anyways. Medium tanks, yeah, the Shuriken have done a great job of cleaning up pausing the medium tanks, I guess I should say. Only takes a few of them becoming online once more in order to continue ravaging this base, though. And still over on the left-hand side, these rocket spiders have done so much work. Is it enough damage is the question. I think pushing back these front lines should be the next priority. Sending a wave of medium tanks through to pop all these metal extractors would be wonderful. This T2 push is looking daunting. Fiends marching forward with thugs and aggravators in the back for support. The thugs I like quite a bit. The aggravators have definitely outlived their purpose. At this point, those shell shockers are all but useless at this point, too. At this point. That's 3. And those Sheldon are looking for the Gauntlet. They're trying to blast down that heavy static defense, heavy T1 static defense, that area control cluster, or area control plasma artillery, as it's so called. Oh, big old bombing run. Okay, wow. Wow! Mother of all bombing runs right there. Beautiful bombing run. Oh my goodness. That may well be one of the best bombing runs I have ever seen. Holy. Whirlwind bombers. If there's something to say, it's that their strafing runs are just beautiful. There we go. Fusion reactor down. Man, these things are good. I'll tell you what, this many Armada bombers would not have killed that. These bombers are way better. E-converters pop, build power goes up as well. The bombers are looping around, trying to find a way to re-engage here. Yeah, they want to bomb those fusion reactors one more time. And they're going to get away with it too. Boom go the fusion reactors. Wow. What a bombing run from the red, or from the orange player right there. Knocking out fusion reactors, knocking out production centers, knocking out all sorts of stuff on the front lines, taking out the entire green army with a single bombing run. Don't call it a comeback, but my goodness, does it look like one. Massive red army moving forward here as well. The Resbots have been hard at work patching all these units back together. I suppose it's one way to get value out of a T1 army is just to bring it back to life and use it again. Sure, recycling. We love recycling. Saving the planet, one resurrected warbot at a time. Yeah, Rocket Spider's so brutal at taking down those static defenses. Obviously, they shine against the static units, but even against the slower moving units, especially things like Zars or Fat Boys, really the slowest of units, they can find really, really good skirmishing value too. This is just good old-fashioned T1 though. Moving in. That's really all it takes. Anti-air truck included here for anti-shuriken potential. But of course, you're more than welcome to use it for anti-air as well, firing away at some of these fighter planes and shooting them out of the sky. Always lovely to see a little bit of anti-air included in a push, just to soften up that overall signature of those fighter planes, just to allow your air player a little bit more flexibility. And my goodness, by breaching the right-hand side, by knocking out the morale of the blue team right here, the red team has really had a nerve. I can't believe it. The blue team had such an advantage in this game. They just needed to keep their tech alive. They just needed to keep those reactors powering out more and more energy, more and more, well, metal, by lieu of converting to metal via energy. Energy to metal convergence. But they couldn't do it. They couldn't protect against the bombing wave. I don't think they saw it coming, and there just was no air action for the longest time, and I think it meant that the reaction from the air player was just insufficient to deal with all that, and now suddenly we find ourselves in this situation. Green Commander goes down right here in the midsection of the map. The tick's running forward. The lab appears to have been resurrected, but not turned on again, and just like that, oh, the sharpshooter's blasting it apart. Doesn't even leave a wreckage, just reduced to atoms. Wow. All that advantage over here as well has been lost. Oh, nice, yeah. Spiders bouncing their missiles off the ground. Nobody knows how that works. That's some forbidden Armada science right there. Recluse Weber, pardon me, probably one of my favorite compositions in the game, bar none. Pun well intended. The fact that they can reclaim everything that they encounter as they go, very, very cool. Makes them a bizarrely efficient composition because, well, what's better than an army that eats itself when it dies? It's hard to think of something. Hard to think of one. Rattlesnake here, doing a good work, blasting down the infidels as they come. Doing a great job of keeping this all nice and cleaned up. Fiend streaming through the left-hand side. Does the blue team have enough chutzpah to push back into this game? As far as the eco goes, the red team is now well ahead as far as, yeah, total metal income goes. Energy income, 174%. That's just because of all the fusion reactors in the backline that are continuing to scale upwards right now. Recluses doing a wonderful job of pushing forward. Struggling a little against the Fiends, though. Fiends are a great option, I just don't think we have enough of them here. It feels like the wave of Fiends that we sent just wasn't sufficient to really bounce back. The Resbots have been working hard on these fusion reactors. I think if these had been focused on, I think if we had gotten these fusion reactors up and running first and foremost and extremely quickly. Might have been recoverable here, but the blue team is now in a really desperate situation because these fusions have been off for so long. Still wouldn't have been really anywhere close to the energy benefit that the red team has over the blue at this point, but it would have been something. It would have been anything that would have helped pull back from the lead that we've got at the moment. We being the red team, of course. I'm not a part of this game. I'm just watching it, and so are you. If you enjoy watching, feel free to hit that like button, of course. In fact, feel more than free. Feel encouraged to hit the like button, or the dislike button, as we found out through vigorous testing, which I appreciate all of your support in. The like and the dislike button do exactly the same thing. Oh, nice move right here. Nice move right here. For the pink player, going for a Prude, that is. The bombing runs having effectively no effect on the pink geothermal right there. That safe geothermal making a name for itself here today. Base in shambles as the fighters try to scramble to take down the bombers right now. We have anti-air firing up into the air as well. The Archangel, awful anti-air bots. They should really be called AAA bots because they're awful anti-air, not just anti-air. Yeah, another volley connects with the build power, and up it goes into the smoke, and the the orange commander is down. That's a nice run right there. Beautifully done. Next wave of medium tanks is sent. A little bit slow on the draw here with these medium tanks, I'm not going to lie. I was kind of expecting these about 5 minutes ago or so. Still better late than never, and it really doesn't matter because this lab never really came back up into production, so these medium tanks have basically no contest as they continue marching forward. Oh, Pitbull accidentally firing into its commander right there. Always a little bit awkward when that happens. And yeah, here they go, directly into the backline. Shuriken here doing a decent job of paralyzing them so that the Fiends can catch up and try and eventually deal with them. It's a slow and tedious process, though. With the changes to EMPing as well, the medium tank essentially got a buff. EMP is now almost directly proportional to the amount of HP that you have. It was sort of the same way before, but it basically is even more correspondent now than it was then. It means the medium tanks have a relatively high EMP resistance relative to their HP pool, of course. Anti-air mixed in here as well in the form of flak trucks, which is basically the best ground anti-air that you can possibly afford. Welder Wall marching forward right now, making it very difficult for Fiends to break through. Nicely done right now by the pink commander. Oh, I like the thought of the self-D. Didn't quite pull it off right there, but I like the idea. Yeah, Fiend's crashing against this wall, but welders are exactly what you need to counter the Fiend. One by one, the blue team taps. The red team now spamming out units and putting on the pressure. Trying to bring this game to a close right here as quickly as possible. Fight War in a lot of trouble right now. That commander is exposed. Sharpshooters kind of hidden behind the wall over here, not actually having much opportunity to fire at it. There we go. Commander does boom as the sharpshooters connect. The welders here being blasted apart by the sharpshooter rail cannons as well. And there we go. The conclusion I think we were all beginning to see. The red team managing to poke right through the heart of the blue team and directly into the backline with a killer bombing run and with wonderful endurance. Managing to stay alive on this left-hand side with some questionable strategies. Managed to bring this game back from the brink of destruction. What a beautiful, beautiful match. Thanks a ton for watching, and if you did enjoy, please, of course, hit that like button and subscribe to join the Brightworks, where we post almost daily Beyond All Reason videos whenever I have the energy to record them. I sure hope you enjoyed, though, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody, and have a lovely day.